Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome back to Keeping Fish Simple. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys some new fish that I picked up over the weekend. Now, I normally don't make videos like this. I normally stick to more of the informational side of things, but today we're going to go more into that entertaining side of things. And I'm going to be showing you what I picked up. I picked some of them up from the local fish store, but I picked the other ones up from a private dealer and stuff like that. So recording me going and getting them is quite hard. So over the weekend, I actually picked up two different types of L-numbered catfish. These are Plecos. These guys are quite rare, and in the hobby there's a lot of people who specialize in breeding and stuff like that, and I'm not the person to be asking about breeding these guys. I'm very new to Plecos. I've kept them in the past, but I've been mainly sticking to ancistrus and stuff like that, so my experience with the L-numbered Plecos is very limited. So I bought a bunch of juveniles. The plan is to grow them up over the next couple of years, and I'm going to show you them all in a second, but obviously these guys take quite a bit of time to grow up, and I'm going to pretty much cover all the information that I know about these guys and my motives going forward with these guys and what I plan to do and all that kind of stuff. So I picked up the L201 Snowballs. Those are the Orinoco Angels. And I also picked up the L134 Leopard frog Plecos, which look sick. So I'm just going to show you them right now. So if we come to this tank, this is the new L201 Snowball Pleco tank. Now, this is going to be kind of like a semi sort of weird kind of breeding tank. This is going to be a grow out tank for a lot of fish, and mainly fish that are like kind of top dwelling to mid dwelling fish, like these neon tetras that you can see in here. But this is also going to be the grow out tank for 6 beautiful Orinoco Angel Plecos. So these guys are super cool. Now, of course, with all kinds of Plecos, we have lots and lots of hiding. Now these guys, they don't come out very often. So I've had them for about 2 days, and it didn't take me long to figure out that these guys aren't very active at all. They don't do a lot. They kind of just sit around and they wait for a bit of a snack, then they have an eat, and then they just kind of go back to sleep. Now, you need a lot of caves when taking care of these guys because these guys sit in caves, so you're going to kind of want about a cave or more for each Pleco that you buy. So I've got 6 caves in here. I'm getting some more caves at the moment. They're like in shipment and stuff like that, so it's going to take a bit of time for them to get here, but there's 6 caves in here, and as you can see, we've got a little guy up the back there. Now, there's also another one up in the back corner. I can't really record him. He's just behind that heater, and he's just sneaking around there. These guys are very cool. They're more of an exotic Pleco. In the back there of the cave, you'll see all those little dots. So that's one of the little guys. Now these guys, yes, they sit in caves pretty much all day. They spend all day relaxing, and they're more like nocturnal compared to the bristlenose and stuff like that. Most of the kinds of Plecos that we have in the aquarium hobby are nocturnal. These guys are very nocturnal. They kind of come out and eat during the night, so they're really kind of interesting. The difference between these guys and the common bristlenose Plecos, which are like the ancistrus, which eat mostly vegetable, they're the most common things to find in the aquarium hobby as of Plecos. These guys are actually carnivorous, and the bristlenose Plecos are herbivoreal. So these guys eat mostly meat. Now these guys have a different mouth to the bristlenose Plecos. If you look at the bristlenose Plecos, they have more of like a sucker kind of mouth. They don't really have anything designed to eat meat and stuff like that. It's more designed to obviously eat veg. It doesn't really have anything on it that would suggest that it's designed to eat meat. But these guys, when you look at their mouth, it's got a beak on it. So like they use this beak to kind of like scratch at little bugs and attach themselves and just kind of like chew at it and gnaw at it all day. And that's how these guys eat. They are a carnivorous little Pleco. They only get about 10 centimeters long, which is just over 3 to 4 inches long, but it does take them quite a bit of time to get to that size. So these guys can take about 2.5 years to 3 years to reach sexual maturity, which makes them really expensive because in Australia, the import laws don't allow any of these guys to actually come in. So the stock where I am from in Australia is very limited. There's not a lot of these guys getting wild caught anymore, and any that you find in Australia have either been bred here or they've been smuggled in. So I'm hoping that these guys have been bred here. They look to have been bred here, but there is a few that are still smuggled in every year. So these guys are pretty rare. They're one of the more common styles of Plecos, but they're still very hard to find, and not a lot of people have them. Now, an interesting thing that I've learnt about these guys, you'll see that all the neon tetras that I have are in here. So I've been breeding these neon tetras, but I've been storing them in here kind of as dither fish. Now, when we talk about dither fish, these guys are up the top, and what they're designed to do is, when you think about it in the wild, these guys are gonna be in like the bottom. They can go all the way down to 30 meters deep in some of these rivers where they're from in Brazil. These guys will be sitting down the bottom, and there'll be tons of these like little tetras up the top and stuff like that. Now, when these guys are around, that means that there's none of the bad guys. So none of the predatorial fish are around. So by having some of these dither fish up the top swimming around and providing a bit of security for these guys, it lets them think that there's no predator fish around, and it kind of lets them relax and just eat and be normal. Now, a lot of people don't add dither fish when they're keeping Plecos, and it's super important. I definitely recommend having dither fish because it just allows them to be a little bit more comfortable and lets them kind of think that there's no predators around, and it's really beneficial to them. So these are my Snowball L201 Orinoco Angel Plecos. They look super cool. I'm super stoked to get them. It's going to be a long time before I can breed them, but let's go have a look at the other fish that I find a little bit cooler and looks way more sick. And those would be my L134 leopard frog Plecos. Yeah, this little guy's just stuck himself to the glass. So you can see that beak there. It's definitely not designed to eat vegetation. It's definitely designed to eat meat. And you can see right there is a clear example. Oh, there he goes. Like, see, it's not designed to eat algae at all. It's a little beak there, and it's designed to stick itself to like a bug or a piece of meat or something like that and just gnaw on it and eat the meat. Anyways, here is my L134 Pleco colony. Now, I picked up 9 of these guys yesterday from a private breeder. As you can see, here's one of them. They're very, very small, these guys. Normally, these guys will get sold at about 3 to 4 centimeters. Now, I actually picked these guys up at about 2 centimeters, which is quite risky, but it means that I don't have to pay as big of a price. So these guys can cost quite a bit, but if you pick them up for a bit smaller, they are quite a bit less. So you can see how beautiful these guys are. These guys get about 10 centimeters long, which is just under about 4 inches. So they're not very big. As you can see, they as well are the exact same pretty much in care as the L201s that I have in the other tank. So I've got 9 of these guys in here. They've been eating some bloodworms, which are here. I've been overfeeding these guys to try and stimulate them and try and get them to eat a little bit more. And then whatever they don't eat is getting fished out. So this is some bloodworms here, just some frozen bloodworms. And this will be getting fished out in a couple of minutes after I record this video because they have obviously not eaten them all. So I'm just overfeeding them for the time being, but I'm taking it out before it dirties up the water just to try and stimulate them to eat a little bit more because I want them to put on some size. So these guys, as you can see, they look so good. So when these guys grow up, they look a little bit nicer. They look way better than this. These again are quite rare. So in my area, there's not a lot of people that have them. And it's really, really exciting to get your hands on like a fish that kind of no one else has, and it's a little bit special. So my plan with these guys is these guys are going to take at least 2.5 years before they're at a size where they're going to start breeding. So these are kind of like a sort of inventory fish that you guys got to kind of keep. You guys kind of like collect them, and then you just got to be really, really patient. So these are going to take quite a long time. I hope in 2.5 years I'm still making fish videos and I can show you guys when I actually breed these guys, or if I do get to breed these guys, which would be very, very special. It's a 2.5 year wait before these guys get to be a little bit bigger, but these guys are currently eating some sinking pellets, which are about 42% protein. They're eating these frozen bloodworms, which have been really, really good. They're eating some baby brine shrimp and stuff like that. These are all carnivorous fish, so they really do like that meat. They don't need any veg and stuff like that. Well, they don't need a lot of it. I'm going to be feeding a little bit of veg every now and then, but mostly meat, just to get these guys to get really, really big as quick as I can. So when compared to other fish in the aquarium hobby, these guys are so slow growing. Like I said, it's going to be quite a long time before these guys get bigger. So they're going to be doing good in this aquarium. This is a 2-foot aquarium. As you can see, it's just got some like temporary logs and stuff like that. These will all be getting replaced. And I'll be making a lot more like spaces for them to hide and all that kind of stuff. This is still a very, very temporary setup because the way I found this breeder was kind of random. It was really, really hard to find him. And then it was kind of like I had to just set this tank up in a day and get it ready. So one thing I'm going to mention about these guys is I've added these extra sponge filters. Now, these guys would appreciate a little bit more flow than what they've currently got. And I'll be looking into getting some better filtration, just not like better mechanically, just more flow in the tank because these guys come from rivers and they're like playing around. It's pretty cool. And they really, really do enjoy quite a bit more flow than what they're getting right now. So at the moment, this sponge filter is blowing up water and cycling like around the aquarium. So they're getting quite a bit of flow and they're getting quite a high amount of oxygen, which is good. But obviously I'd like them to get just a little bit more because in the rivers there's quite a lot more oxygen and stuff like that. So these guys will be all good for the time being, but in the future we're definitely gonna have to look into upping this and giving them a little bit more flow because these guys do appreciate quite a bit more oxygen in the aquarium than some of the other fish in this hobby. So these are a really, really cool fish. I couldn't wait to show you guys these guys because they look so sick. They were one of the most sought after fish that I kind of wanted, but there's still a few other ones that I kind of want to collect within the next 2 years and just see where I'm at in 2 years and still have them all. And yeah, so my plan is to grow them all up, get them bigger, and then eventually start to breed them and then get them out to the people in my area because they are such a cool little fish. One thing I have noticed is with this batch of fish that I picked up, because these guys were locally bred, they were about an hour and a half drive away from me, they've been a lot easier to acclimate and get them into the aquarium and start eating because they come from water that's very, very similar to the water that's in my aquarium. So they've all been locally bred, they've been bred in an aquarium, they haven't been wild caught or anything like that, and they've been a lot easier and a lot more active. As you guys can see, they've all been swimming around and really acting like little baby fish, like little kids and stuff like that. So they've been a lot easier to get on. The other ones have been eating, but of course, because they've been shipped around and stuff like that, they're still kind of settling in and getting used to their new environment and stuff like that. So they could take a little bit longer to get like accustomed to an aquarium, but I'm hoping that I don't have any losses, because any loss is an expensive loss with these guys. And it's always sad to lose fish, but I definitely don't plan on losing any of these guys. I'm going to spend a lot of time making sure the water's good quality and all that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you guys my new fish because I thought you guys would be interested. I don't normally show you guys my new fish and stuff like that. I normally make a lot of informational videos, so just changing it up. But that's pretty much going to wrap this video up, guys. So thank you so much for watching it. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.